All right, what's up, everyone? It's Zach, and today I'm here with a very special guest. I am joined by Luke Denzer. Luke, how are you doing today, man?
I'm living the dream, sir.
I love that. Very cool. Awesome. So yeah, Luke is currently working in the healthcare field and also is someone that is looking to use humor to, make people's day, inspire people, and kind of go into like that with social media and content creation. But that's just a little bit about Luke. Do you mind kind of talking about who you are, your background, what you do these days, all that good stuff?
Yeah, for sure. As you said, my name is Luke Denzer, but you may also have seen me as Duke Lenzer, my alter ego. I kind of brought it back when I decided to create content online. Duke Lenzer was created many years ago. I think I might have been still in high school. It was like our Twitter handles, me and a couple buddies. Charlie Steslick, I don't know if you know
Yeah.
that name.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was Starly, and I was Duke, and a couple other people did it, but that's kind of how it started. And I was like, it'd be kind of a perfect name to go by, online. I kind of wanted to just switch up my name a little bit, just for work purposes. Not like
Yeah.
anyone couldn't figure it out that I just switched the first and last letters of my name.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you Google Duke, it's obviously not Luke, so hopefully that just deters at least someone from seeing something they might not want to see. But so that's the name. But yeah, I'm a physician assistant. I'm working at an urgent care in Southfield, so that's what I'm doing for work right now. And other than that, just trying to find time to relax outside of work and
Yeah.
keep the mind right.
I love that. And now, Luke, how long have you been a PA?
So I graduated from CMU,
Fire
uh,
up.
Fire Up Chips.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna ask. I saw like your picture. It looked like a Central Michigan shirt.
Yeah, yep.
Um,
I graduated from undergrad in 2018, and now I'm in my final year of grad school, CMU both times.
oh, okay. So
Yeah.
I did the same thing. I did my undergrad there as well,
Okay,
and
nice.
I finished that December of 17. So we were there probably for quite a while together.
Yeah. Wow, that's wild.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, I graduated. I guess it was October of 2020, and I passed my
Okay.
boards in November.
Okay.
I got a job. My first job was out in Clinton Township.
Okay.
Um, Basically, it was like pain management, but it was kind of a sketchy place, and I just had to get out of there. So came to urgent care, and I signed with this company in May. Um, Kind of took a while to get going. It was a rough road.
Hmm.
So we could talk about that at some point. But I finally our clinic in Southfield opened earlier this month, so we're just about like 4 weeks in.
Gotcha. Awesome. And now I'm sure this is probably a question that you've been asked a lot, or maybe something that you've thought about personally a lot, but like, how is all this kind of like transition and everything been while being in a pandemic?
Yeah, so the pandemic really had kind of a huge impact on me, as with everyone, but
Right.
especially my pathway, through schooling and becoming a PA. So I was in my clinical portion, which is the second half of the
Hmm.
PA program, when the pandemic hit. So I was actually right in the middle um, of my clinical year, and we totally got put on hold. Everyone, we got an email, I think it was like midday on a Monday. Everyone needs to leave their clinical sites immediately, and we're on pause until further notice. And then that ended up being almost 4 months of just waiting, we doing
Hmm.
some stuff online, which was a disaster, and it was tough. You kind of have your mind set on graduating a certain day, and it's a long road to get there, and being so close to the end, and it gets delayed, and they actually ended up shortening our program to kind of get us done. And
Okay.
so pros and cons to that. It was good to like kind of get done, but we all missed pretty much our whole class missed our elective rotation, which is kind of a big deal. It's the one you get to
Yeah.
pick. You only get one elective, and for most of us, they were all our last rotation, and they just, cut it off.
Yeah.
So that was, just a brief thing that kind of was a downfall of the pandemic, but
Mm-hmm.
it was also kind of a blessing in disguise at the time. I was going through a lot mentally, and I was able to come home and be with my family and friends for a few months. And I think I really needed that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad you're able to do that. And I think it's cool to hear you kind of say, like, sure, of course, there are negatives or things that, weren't the best because of the pandemic and everything, but also being able to look at the bright side and see that there were some potentially good things, as weird as that might sound, that came from it. And it sounds like, yeah, you kind of were able to do what you needed to do to take care of yourself. And, um, I think that's so important. I think that, especially like mental health, man, I think that, as a society, we're so good at going to the gym, going for a run, whatever, to work on our physical health. And as a
Hmm.
PA, I'm sure you know how important to keep your physical health is, but
Definitely.
the mental health, man, it's just as important, if not more important. I would argue more important than like keeping up with the physical health. So I'm glad
I
you're
would
able
as
to do that
well.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree. And I think we're starting to make strides as a society and
Hmm.
recognizing the importance of mental health, but I think we have a long way to go still. And one thing that I've seen firsthand going through training and even working in healthcare for a short time is the access for patients to find help in mental health is like really tough.
Hmm.
And a lot of people are just don't have access to what they need, or it's just spaced out and just a lot of obstacles with it.
Certainly, yeah. I think it's tough, and unfortunately, we see a lot of just lack of accessibility, whether it's because of economical situations or you know geographical location, whatever the case may be. So I think that that's
Hmm.
it's definitely important to address that. And um, you know, do you by chance know, Luke, like, is there any like really good or at least helpful resources that you know of that are maybe like free or more accessible to the general public, or anything that you can think of personally?
Um, it's tough even off the top of my head, like,
Yeah.
'cause I mean, I'll even be honest, like I've been looking to use them personally. Trying to
Mm,
find therapy is super hard.
yeah.
Um, I found a clinic in Livonia that does like telemed, so all
Okay.
online stuff, and
Yep.
like I got in with them and then just kind of ended up having a bad experience and someone rubbed me the
Mm,
wrong way, and so I kind of gave up on that. But I know there's even like a couple apps that I see advertised
yeah.
where you can connect with licensed therapists and stuff online, right from your phone. And they're a little bit cheaper than some of the more classical therapy setups, I guess you
Hmm.
could say. Um, but yeah, it's tough,
Yeah.
even really sometimes it's just starting and having a conversation with your primary provider, your PCP, if you have one that you can connect with, hopefully. And I mean, that's kind of where it started for me. And, you know, I, I got put on medication and that helped me a lot. And even, really just accepting the fact that I needed something, I kind of
Yeah.
tried to ignore that for a long time.
Definitely. And I think that everything that we're talking about right now and the things that Lucas just said is so important to anyone listening. When it comes to mental health, there's nothing to be ashamed of with it. It's something that honestly probably everyone experiences to some extent in their life, especially in the world that we've lived in the last couple of years and are living in now. There's just a lot going on, and trauma's real. It's extremely
Yeah,
real. So,
absolutely.
anyone that is going through anything, always, I think, we're both encouraging you to, if you feel comfortable, reach out to some resources, speak to your primary care physician if you can, or just see what's out there and go at your own pace. Like Luke mentioned, there are those good apps, or even if maybe it might be intimidating to like talk to a licensed therapist or psychologist. Maybe you just start by opening up to a family member or friend and just sharing that maybe you're going through some hard times. I think that's a huge step too.
Exactly. It doesn't, there's no right or wrong person. It's just
Hmm.
if you feel that you have that ability to open up and
Yeah,
opportunities there, take it for sure.
definitely. And um, I know like Luke and I just kind of briefly talked about how we both went to Central Michigan. So I know I
Fire
can
up.
say fire up chips. I can say specifically for CMU, I can't guarantee other universities, but I'd wager a lot of universities do offer some sort of counseling opportunities with being a student, and some employers might even too. I know that like this past summer I was interning with Target, and like they have a program where any team member can speak to a licensed therapist for X amount of sessions or something. So don't be afraid to kind of look at like a school if you're a student, or even if you're in high school or something. I'm pretty sure that you can utilize those services, and then also your employment. Sometimes they have some opportunities, or if they don't have like a program, they might be able to help with like the cost or something.
Right.
Totally. So when it comes to like mental health, and I know you kind of mentioned like some things that you've done, is there anything that you do or practice like daily or regularly that kind of has helped you in like your journey with mental health?
Um, I think just kind of, I mean, it's hard, but
Hmm.
taking the time once in a while to kind of sit back and appreciate, things that are going good for you.
Yeah.
For me, it's always been knowing that I have a really good support system that's reliable, which I'm, very, very lucky for because
Hmm.
I couldn't imagine how bad things could have gotten for me at my, worst without them. I have a good relationship with my mom and my dad and my sister, both my sisters, older brother. Really good friends. I have a good group of friends that I've been close with since middle school. Um, my girlfriend is very supportive, and I feel like I can communicate with them pretty openly too. So that's a huge thing for me. So kind of
Yeah.
just when I feel caught up and feel like um, I'm getting stressed or whatever it may be, just to put it lightly, sit back and realize that I have those things in my life and use them. That's another thing is to actually use those things if you have them. It's not always
Yep.
easy. I'm kind of one of those people that I internalize everything.
Hmm.
It's just kind of an instinct, and I know it doesn't make sense. I know most of the time it's not going to be helpful, but that's just how I am. And it can be kind of hard to open up
Yeah.
about things, but I've I've made a lot of strides in that, over the last year, I would say, year
Hmm.
and a half, since I really accepted mental health struggles and I kind of acknowledged like, yeah, I have things going on and I shouldn't be ashamed about it. It's okay
Right.
to admit it. It's not some like made up thing that people try to, you know, flex on. Like some,
Yeah.
I know, everyone makes things up out there, but mental health is absolutely real.
Hmm.
It's not just I'm having a bad day or I need an excuse for something. Like it's miserable, and no one would choose to have this if they had the option. So accepting it and
Yeah.
just yeah, like I said, appreciating things. That's all I, kind of to answer your question. I know it's
Right.
kind of a loop answer. Daily things, it's hard,
Yeah.
especially when you have work. For me, when I
Yeah.
work, I have 12-hour shifts. There's really nothing
Mm.
in that I can do. It's just
Right.
going to be a long day no matter what. But, coming home and try to relax when you have the time, even if it's only for an hour before you go to bed
Yeah.
and do the things you like to do. For me, when I get home, it's either like video games or just putting on Netflix or Hulu and watching something.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I think that's first of all, I'm glad to hear that you do have, that good support system, and feel like you have been making some really positive strides. Just hearing you talk about your experiences in like the last year for you, I get a sense that, you feel like, you're going towards the direction that you want. Maybe you're not quite there yet, or maybe, there's bumps along the road, but you're going in the right direction. And I think that that's awesome, man. So, kudos to you on that. And, something that you said that really resonated with me is I think like we spend so much time of our lives thinking like, oh, like we have this like family or like these like really good friends, and like we're just going to talk to them when we get a new job or when we, do XYZ accomplishment. But then it's like,
Hmm.
oh, I feel like sad or I'm going through something. It's like, I don't want to talk to them. Like, I don't want to bring them down. I don't want to inconvenience them, whatever. But like that's like the big lesson that I've learned, in the last few years, that like our friends and family, like, man, they're like choosing to be there for you. And it's like I think about myself, like I'm always like to my friends, like, hey, if you need anything, like let me know. And then I'm like, well, why can't I like think that they would do the same for me? And I think
Right.
it's just like kind of like you said, it's you know easy to internalize. It's hard to talk about things, and even just like sometimes even like you might know exactly what you want to say, but it's just like starting that conversation with someone. It's like the most
Absolutely.
intimidating thing or daunting thing. So totally, I think that's completely normal and understandable. And I kind of love how you mentioned when it comes to getting done with work, anything that you can do to kind of like relax or kind of like decompress a bit. And I think, video games, watching stuff, I think those are great options, and things that I personally do as well. And I think that that helps a lot. And, just knowing that, we have to take care of ourselves at the end of the day. Like, I love helping others, but, the thing that always gets me is like when people say you can't take care of others unless you take care of yourself first. And with your profession, I mean, that's definitely true, right?
Exactly.
Like your
Yeah.
your job is to take care of others. So yeah,
Right. Yeah, for sure. You can't let yourself go in the process, or
yeah,
eventually you won't be able to help others, at your full
right,
capacity. And if that's something, that people focus on, and a lot of
yeah,
people do get caught up in that, you just have to realize you won't be able to keep up forever. And
right,
if you let yourself, kind of fall under the wayside.
yeah, definitely. I know, Luke, I know that like something else that you're passionate about, and we kind of touched a little bit on the intro, is like content creation and humor and stuff like that. Do you mind talking a little bit about that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So, um, yeah, I just kind of decided, I think it was like around April this year,
Hmm.
when I was like, I want to start, doing YouTube. That's kind of where my mind was first, was like doing YouTube stuff. And I still definitely have that on my mind, but YouTube is a lot, kind of a bigger undertaking in the sense of, it's obviously longer videos for the most part. There's a
Hmm.
lot more like editing and stuff involved. And so I haven't really gotten as into that as I've wanted to, just for that reason. I don't have, really any experience with doing that kind of stuff. And just with, work and different stuff in my life, I haven't like just gotten myself to dedicate, time toward YouTube specifically.
Right.
But kind of all in one, once I decided, I started a YouTube channel, a new Instagram, and then a TikTok under my, Duke Lenzer name.
Hmm.
I was going to kind of, use all those platforms, and I never really had a specific goal of, what I wanted my channels to be. I kind of wanted them to just be me doing stuff that I like to do, or stuff
Yeah.
that I think will be interesting. So, um, yeah, basically, so far I've been doing mostly TikTok videos that I end up posting as well on my Instagram.
Hmm.
And then the Instagram page in itself will have a couple extra additional stuff. I've made a few random memes that I posted, or just random stuff on my Instagram stories, different stuff I share, stuff like that. So, yeah, basically, I was like, I just want to do random stuff and have fun, make people laugh is for sure my focus, the humor aspect. And at the end of the day, no matter what people like or dislike, or how many views, followers, whatever I get, I'm gonna have memories to look back on, years down the road. And um, I think I've had a blast doing it, honestly, so far in just these few months. Um, one of my videos popped off. I think you saw that, and I made a little Instagram story about it.
Hmm.
And it's just like cool. Like,
Yeah.
um, two instances, like the other day, my cousin who lives in Ohio, like one of his friends sent him that TikTok and was like, "Yo, this is funny as hell. Check it out." And he's like, "Oh my God, that's my cousin." And then my sister's boyfriend, Angelo, he has a good buddy all the way down in New Orleans. and got sent the video and from his buddy down there. It was like, dude,
Yeah.
that's my girlfriend's brother. So it's just crazy, like the reach that
Yeah.
something that I spent, a few minutes sitting in the chair I'm sitting in now in my basement, just kind of making light of some stuff going on in the world,
Yeah.
and people love it, and it's just cool. And like I said, I've had a really good time. I can kind of get frustrations out with
Yeah.
it in a way, and it kind of gives me something to focus on. Even, editing those little TikToks, takes a little bit of time to get it how you want it to be, and
Yeah.
so it's just fun.
That's awesome, man. I love that. I think it's so cool, just like how social media is so prevalent these days, and like TikTok like is huge, right? And like I feel like now more than ever is it's like easier to kind of gain some traction on those kind of platforms, and it's really cool to hear that you've had some pretty good success and seeing that like wide reach of where you can go. And one thing that you said that I thought was kind of interesting was like that you don't really care like about like the likes, follows, shares, views, whatever, in the sense of like you're doing this for you, right? Like you care about it, you're passionate about it.
Right.
And I think that that's great, and that's something that like that I'm the same way with my podcast, man. Like I like get a whole bunch of like metric reports of like how many people listen, like what was the listen time, where they're listening at in the world, or
Mm-hmm.
even the state. And I kind of just got to the point where I'm like, I don't care. Like I'll check it here and there just to kind of like see like, oh wow, like someone in Japan listened, to my podcast,
Yeah,
someone in like
absolutely.
Norway. Like that's cool, but like at the end of the day, like I'm just doing this for me, man. I'm enjoying it. And even like every single conversation that I have, this conversation included, like I'm learning about myself, I'm learning about life, I'm learning from you in this instance. And like to be honest, if I can just capture these conversations and other people can benefit even a little bit, like I feel like I'm doing like what I want to be doing and like helping people. So I love
Yeah,
that you have that
it's super
perspective,
cool.
man. Yeah. So it's awesome to hear that you're kind of on the same like wave with that, but at the same time, like I know like it'd be cool, like, to have more people seeing it. And like for what you do with humor and comedy, it's like if the more people that see it, the probably the more people's day you're making. And like,
Exactly. Yeah,
you
that's
know,
that's one of the really cool things about it is
yeah.
just like, I mean, still daily, like that video that I'm talking about, I posted it at the end of July, so it's
Hmm.
been, almost a month,
Yeah.
and I still get people commenting and liking it every single day.
It's awesome.
Just, laughing emojis, LOL, tagging
Yeah.
people, and then I see the person they tagged, enjoying it. And, I
Yeah.
try to respond to people and, just say, I appreciate you, commenting and watching. And
Right.
I'm glad that, you enjoyed it. Like that's exactly, obviously, like I said, number one, it's for me,
Yeah.
really. And I'm having fun doing it. But like my number two or even 1B goal is to like make people laugh.
Yeah.
And I've had some success, yeah, like you said, doing that so far, and I'm excited to keep doing it.
Awesome, man. I love that. And I don't think you can go wrong with that. I think that like and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this kind of mentality, but I think there's a lot of people these days who are like, oh, I'm going to start an Instagram because I want to be famous. I want to
Right.
get like super popular, and that's fine. I mean, by all means, like I would love to to be able to do that, but I think
Oh,
that like,
yeah, dude, exactly, man. That's
right,
like that could be life changing. And you see
exactly,
people online who they're, very lucky and blessed, but I
yeah,
mean, people have the talent, so it's not just all
exactly,
luck, but I think, it's kind of an aspect to it, but they're
yeah,
living their life and they're
exactly,
making millions of dollars a year, doing what we're doing now, but obviously on a
right,
huge scale. And
yeah,
so
for
that would be
sure,
awesome, but it's not do or die for me. And
exactly,
it sounds
yeah.
like not for you either.
Right, exactly. I'd agree, and I think that that's like the cool thing. Like, I think that you or I, we might not be quote unquote successful or mainstream this year or next year or even the year after that. But I
Hmm.
think that with kind of our passions for what we do and the ability to stay consistent, I truly believe wholeheartedly that either of us could get to kind of that next level if we just keep doing what we do. Because I think like the authenticity of what you do with, entertaining others and make people laugh, and like I think the authenticity with these conversations, I think people relate to that, and like you know
Absolutely.
that's what the world needs, and that's kind of what people are drawn to these days. So, I just say keep going, man, because I have no doubt that you can get there for sure.
Yeah, thank you. I think
Just,
honestly, it kind of all starts with that mindset that, I mean, we were both just basically explaining of
yeah,
not having such a set expectation because
exactly.
that can really deter you in some situations.
Yeah.
It can be, frustrating. So, just kind of take it one step at a time and see where it goes.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, if we hit it big one day, that's awesome. But,
Yeah,
you know, either way, we're having a good time. And
exactly. For sure, man. So, with kind of like the entertaining others, making people laugh, is that something that's like always been important to you? And have you always kind of been like the, joker, if you will, of like friends and family groups, or is this kind of like a new thing for you?
um, I'd say it's probably always been there.
Okay.
You know, I, it's kind of hard to say, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I don't really know how funny I am, but I feel like people have always laughed at, me, and I do like definitely like to, you know, mess around and have fun
Yeah.
and joke. So, I mean, the effort is definitely there on my end, but I think, it does translate into, to people thinking that I'm funny. So I think it has always been there to answer that. And
Okay.
um, really like creating and like doing stuff was never really something that I thought I like would ever do.
Yeah.
I mean, I've like my mentality has changed a lot over the years, and um, you know, old me would probably like laugh at the idea of even doing this and just like, oh, what are you doing, dude? Like, chill
Yeah.
out. But I'm just like, um, just how I've matured mentally with, things I've gone through is just like, who cares what people think? Who cares what, I'm doing or what other people are doing? If it makes you happy, you should pursue it and don't let anyone kind of like make you feel any other way about it. So, um, it's just, yeah. So I don't know, I forgot what I was kind of even getting at there.
Oh, you're good.
Um, but yeah, it's always been there for sure, and I was like, kind of screw it. I'm gonna start doing it because
Yeah.
like we talked about earlier, it's becoming big. TikTok has obviously grown a huge amount, and so it kind of just came at a certain time where I think I needed something to do, and that might have been on the back burner for me.
Hmm.
So I just kind of took a leap, and I definitely enjoy making people laugh. Um, I think, yeah, what I was gonna say, I never saw myself doing this, but I've always like enjoyed like if I could have been an actor, I think that would have been awesome. Like that
Okay.
was my probably low key dream job that I probably never even told anyone. It's like if I could be an actor, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
I just think that'd be so fun to be able to get into character, do different things. I mean, make people laugh, but I mean,
Right.
even be serious, be whatever you want. And I I remember back in high school in my drama and speech class, we had to do like a poem, but we had to read it in like a super like dramatic tone. We had to like come up with our own like breaks in the poem, and I just kind of went all out on this poem, and my teacher was like in awe, and she was like trying to get me to do like drama classes and stuff. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And kind of laughed it off. But I'm just like thinking back, like I feel like this is something that I always probably would have liked to do
Yeah.
if I would have even taken the idea remotely serious,
Yeah.
and been more open, you know, to what I was doing. And, I always, for the last many years, I just was so focused on school and, becoming a PA, and I kind of, had tunnel vision for a long time.
Hmm.
And so this was just like a way to break out of my status quo for what I've done and do something that I know I've always liked doing, but never took seriously, I guess.
I like that, man. I think like it's maybe a little cliche, but I think it's never too late to start. And even if you might feel like you're starting kind of like this journey a little late in your life personally, or just like, maybe you think and you're like, oh, I wish I would have, tried drama or something earlier on, like back in high school. I think that like, yeah, maybe that could have put you on a different path, or maybe, you could have been doing something different right now or whatever. But I
Hmm.
think, you're still at a good point where like you're diving into this, and it sounds like you're, diving in pretty head first and really enjoying it. So, I think that it's never too late to start. And huge kudos to you for getting started in the first place. I think that it's anything like this, any kind of endeavor can be intimidating, or you can always get caught up in like, oh, like what are people gonna think? Like if no one knows this about me, like they're probably gonna be like, what the heck is going on? So,
Right.
having that like kind of like that who cares mentality, not in like a a negative way, but just like who cares? Like I'm having fun, I'm doing what I want to do, and I'm sure like at least one person will laugh, and that's good enough for you. And I like that, man.
Yeah, that's exactly. Even I remember like the first time that someone was like, "Dude, I saw your video that was super funny," and I was like, "Ah, that's a really good feeling." And
Yeah.
just to be able to repeat that over and over, and to go back on, taking the leap of creating. I'm trying to, encourage more people to do it. I mean, I've even had, a couple conversations with people about how they've wanted to do it and never really kind of, taken the time to do it, and
Hmm.
how, seeing me just kind of say screw it has, pushed them a little bit closer to getting there. And I'm just like, just do it, and you won't regret it, because at the end of the day, I mean, it's an outlet for you, and you can make it whatever you want it to be. And I think like the more people that start doing this, like the more collaboration potential there is, like we're doing right now. I mean,
Yeah.
we connected because, that page was my content page, and I was reaching out to people, and I saw you do the same thing, and obviously it made complete sense for us to do this. And
Yeah.
I want to be able to do this more with other people, maybe do this again down the road, do it in a year, be like,
Yeah.
how far have we come? Bring someone else on, whatever it is. I mean, there's endless possibilities. And something like you said earlier, just getting to know people on your podcast is something that you really enjoy, and giving people a platform to speak on whatever they want. And I think that's a really cool thing about collaborating like this. And then you share ideas, you share reach, and
Yeah.
the more you kind of stack all that together over and over and over, I mean, I just think so much good can come of it. I think it opens your mind as a person. I think there's a lot of like closed-minded mentality. Obviously, politically, we're pretty divided as a country right now, and I think something I said the other day, like so many people only subject themselves to, you know, what they already believe in, and they don't even like, to be around people that are different or think differently than them. And I think that's not really a good thing at all. And this is a way for people to, get exposed to different cultures, ideas, beliefs, thoughts, opinions, you name it. And I just think, if more people were open to, and this isn't like everyone has to start creating content, but even just, having conversations with people, or listening to other people have conversations, like this podcast, and everyone has to start one, but if people listen to people talking, and maybe it'll open their mind, maybe it'll change their perspective, and kind of unlock a better person in themselves. So it's a cool thing.
Oh man, I couldn't say any of that better myself. I think that was all great points. And to start with, I want to just say like I think it's cool that you're able to encourage others to just to kind of take that jump. Something that I think is kind of like a downside to social media is that it's made a lot of us kind of like chase that perfection of like, oh, I'm about to post a picture, like it has to be perfectly edited, like perfect, lighting, whatever. And it's like we want to post like perfect content, which is that's fine and everything. But I think when it like anytime you get started with anything for the first time, like it's not gonna go well. Like sorry to
Hmm.
burst anyone's bubble, but like the first time you try anything, I'm sure you could think about like the first TikTok you posted. Like you're probably
Yeah.
super proud of it, but like looking back at it now, you're like, oh my God, what was I thinking?
Yeah, I mean, even
Yeah,
looking back, just a short time, like even in the thumbnails, and just like
yeah,
the way you post things, the lighting, and even editing, like, like you were saying, it's not like I'm trying to make it perfect, or like even that's like a goal now, but just to make it look even good,
yeah, yeah,
like, obviously in movies and everything, edit it to make it look good and real, and just, don't want it to have shadows and just random
Right.
things like that. And so just little things you pick up on, and making better thumbnails for viewers so it makes
Right.
sense, like, oh, what's this video that I'm clicking on? And um, you pick up on things slowly along the way, and it's like that with anything,
Yeah.
especially like in healthcare. um, there's a lot of anxiety the first time I did anything, first time I
Hmm.
went in to see a patient in clinicals, and then the first time when I was actually a solo provider, first time I, do sutures on someone, that kind of stuff. It's, yeah, first time is scary. Doesn't
Yeah.
always go well. Most of the time, it's not going to go well. But getting over that first and then that second and third time, and
Yeah.
each time it gets easier, and you just gain that confidence, and it becomes more enjoyable and less fearful.
Yeah. Definitely agree. I think like is like cheesy as it might sound, like I think we're like the biggest thing that gets in our own way, of going after these passions or these dreams that we have. And I
Hmm.
think, it's also huge, like you mentioned, the idea of like whether it's collaboration, like what we're doing now, or just kind of like you said as well, just connecting with others. I always say that every opportunity, every experience, every person that you encounter is an opportunity to learn something. And we just have to be open to it, right? So I mean, like it's easy to kind of go on autopilot, especially, it sounds like you're a pretty busy person. I know I'm a pretty busy person. So it's easy to just go through a day or even a week where you're like, wake up, go to work, do whatever after work, whatever, go to bed, wake up again. But just like
Exactly.
when you kind of like pause and take that step back and you're like, yeah, like I'm going to, pick up dinner, which I do every night or whatever, but like instead of just like walking in, grabbing and leave, like let's have a conversation with the person that's like, giving me my order, or, just like let's connect with this coworker that we've always just said like, oh, how's it going? Good. And then walked away. You know what I mean? So
Right.
just having those connections, I think, can be huge. And, for us, these collaborations can be huge. And I think that even, again, the limited time that we've known each other in this conversation that we're having right now, I'm just learning a lot about life, and just like it's giving me ideas of like, oh, I could do this and that, or just, XYZ. So I think it's really cool to be able to just connect with people. I think it's something that I think people our age kind of get like made fun of with like the millennial kind of age of like technology and that kind
Hmm.
of lack of, you know, I guess face-to-face communication or just communication in general. But I think that like we have so many unique opportunities to do that, and we definitely, like, by taking advantage of it, can learn so much.
Yeah, definitely. I think, yeah, there's definitely pros and cons to
Yeah.
the 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 level of integration technology has in our
Hmm.
life. But I do think that, you know, like you said, some older people, there's kind of a, judgment of, oh, they're always on their phones or whatever. And I agree,
Hmm.
there's definitely probably uh, a reliance on, being on our phones or connected, but I think it does open us up in ways that
Yeah.
we didn't have before. So
Totally.
you kind of have to take it, from both ways, and consider, yeah, maybe we do spend a little bit too much time, but there's things that we can do that we couldn't do before. So,
Exactly. Yeah. Totally agree, man. So like with kind of, your content that you've created and that you're going to be creating in the future, do you have anything like that you'd say is specifically like an inspiration to you, whether it's like another content creator or someone like a comedian, or do you have like a niche that you like to kind of go towards, or are you just kind of like whatever I think is funny or will get people to laugh, like I just want to entertain?
yeah, I mean, as far as the niche, like, I don't want it to become one of those complete one, niche page. Like,
Yeah.
you see tons of them where that's all they really can do. That's all they've
Yeah.
been doing. And if they try to step out of it, they probably wouldn't even know where to begin. Um, but, unfortunately, like, it's kind of known that it helps you to kind of stay in algorithms to have a
Hmm.
niche. Um, and I've even noticed that, like, so my first video that went off was a political video, and then I'm pretty sure my next two most viewed videos are my part two and part three to that, which,
Okay.
were, posted at random times. And so I think like those videos are gonna hop into the algorithm more because they're already, connected from that one video that has, 1 million views now. And so if I post another video and throw some of those same hashtags, like I think it'll have, that's just kind of the way it goes. So I know
Hmm.
there's a pro to having one, but I don't really want it to just be, one thing. I don't want it to just be politics. I kind of started my page doing like medical stuff at my old job. So that the first, handful of videos were like me at work dealing with patients. Couple of videos of me road raging because I can be a little impatient on the road, I would say.
Okay.
But I don't know. I guess that's just one thing that really grinds my gears is people that don't have awareness on the road. And
Yeah.
so yeah, that job that I was working at the time was an hour away one way. So I was
Ooh.
driving 2 hours a day. So I spent a lot of time on the road. And when you
Yeah.
drive that much, I think your tolerance gets even lower. And mine,
Oh yeah.
isn't super high to begin with for
Yeah.
some, so, um, but to go back to content ideas, I want it to be pretty open,
Yeah.
as far as topics and different things. Um, just so, eventually, like, when people follow me, they're following me for me and not necessarily me and the topic, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, so I want it to be open. I do want to make, more videos of the stuff I've already done. I mean, I enjoy doing those and I think they're relevant. Obviously, politics is, healthcare is, something relevant to me. And but anything else, I'm always open. I have like a random note in my phone where I just like type random ideas. There's some
Yeah.
stupid shit in there,
Yeah.
and it's like sometimes I go back and like, well, I don't even remember what this means. Like, what is
Yeah.
this supposed to be? But I just, if it hits me, maybe it's inspired by something I see on TikTok or Instagram. I know you asked, certain people. I don't think there's really um, anyone specific as far as like topics, but one person I did want to mention when I was talking about YouTube earlier and just kind of starting from nowhere. I don't know if you're familiar with Mr. Beast.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I mean he's pretty well known. Like if you do anything, creating online, you probably know who he is,
Yeah.
especially on YouTube. But I just remember, around the time when I started creating content, I was, really just went deep into like looking at, different people on YouTube. And he was one, and just looking at some of his first videos to now is just insane. Like where he
Hmm.
started making Minecraft videos, and it's just like if you showed one of his videos from, whenever he started, not even crazy long time ago, like 7 years ago,
Hmm.
um, and you showed that to someone who didn't know him and say now he is, a top 3, 5 YouTuber, millions and millions and millions of dollars a year, you would never believe it.
Right.
You would never believe it. And you watch through and you go through all of his videos are there and you can see him slowly become what he is now. And that's one thing that he does is I'm blanking on the word, but giving out, doing stuff for philanthropy.
Yeah.
I don't know why I always forget that word. He's really big in philanthropy, and
Right.
like, there are other people that I follow. Someone kind of completely different on the spectrum, but like Nelk Boys and Steve Will Do It. If
Yep.
you're familiar with them,
Yep.
Steve Will Do It does so much for people. Buying people cars and giving people money and like, all of it's, just generated from him doing what he does. He makes, millions of dollars from it and he gives back.
Hmm.
And like that would for sure be one of the best things if I was ever able to, be at that point is to do things like that. Um, even like having whole videos dedicated to just giving, to people in need, like that would be
Yeah.
like beyond words. That'd be the coolest thing ever. So, you just got to start somewhere. And yeah,
Hmm.
Mr. Beast is, one of those people that I was like, wow, this is kind of crazy. Like he just was doing whatever, making videos, and now he's, has, I don't know, 60 million YouTube subscribers now on his main
Yeah.
page, and he has like 7 sub pages, all with millions of subscribers.
Right.
And then I guess yeah, just to go on to back to Nelk Boys and answer who kind of inspires me. I guess they kind of did do too, like you know um, Kyle Forgard from them. He started making videos in Canada, just like doing prank stuff. And now, I mean, they're going to be huge. They're already
Oh
huge.
yeah.
They just started a podcast a couple weeks ago, and they're growing at a good pace. Steve will do it. Even kind of has his own name, and now he's associated with them. But it's very different from Mr. Beast. Obviously, Nelk Boys are a little more. I don't know what the word is, but they get messed up and do a lot of fun stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, but at the end of the day, they're all have that principle. They started doing what they're doing, and
Mm-hmm.
they're making content for them that people like, and you know now they're living the dream. They're giving back to people, and that's like a crazy inspiration to me.
I love that, man. I think that's awesome to hear. And I'm totally on board with you with like I think the dream for me is to do what I love, inspire people through it, and then be able to give back. I think that's
Like,
to
I don't
me
know what
what
else
life's
you could
about.
ask for, right?
Right, exactly. So it's really cool to hear that you're in the same boat with that. I do want to say, I'm sure you've probably maybe gotten it or heard it often, but I do want to thank you for your current role in healthcare, especially during times like now. I know it might be frustrating days and long hours and maybe not the ultimate end goal for you, but you know, while you're working on that journey of content creation, I know for a fact you are giving back, a lot to people and helping out our kind of like local community, but also just people in the world, man. So I think that's super awesome that you're doing that. But
I
I know
appreciate
that,
that.
yeah, of course, man. But I know you're gonna get there with the content creation too, and I'm excited to see, man. Like I think like, kind of like you said, being able to like look back at things and see what you've done or how far you've come at, I think I have a good feeling we could look back at this conversation or listen back to it in a year, a couple of years, and just like be like, wow, like we kind of just started because I mean we both did start around the same time in April.
Basically, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so just like looking back and be like, oh my God, like look at what we're doing now. Or maybe you're, maybe for the next year you post TikToks and then you never post on TikTok again because you've moved on to the new big app, or maybe you just went all into YouTube. Like maybe I'm not podcasting anymore and I'm actually on TikTok. Like who
Right.
knows,
You
man? I
never
think
know.
it's exactly you never know, and I think it's gonna be
Oh,
cool to it's gonna be
dog's
cool to
going
look
crazy.
back. Oh, you're good, man. It'll be cool to look back, and I'm glad that I can be somewhat part of your journey, man, and just to kind of hear what you're doing and where you're at. I think you have a good head on your shoulders, and I'm excited to see where you end up.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm excited for the journey too. I
Yeah,
think, yeah, like you said, it'll be pretty cool to look back one day at this conversation. I think we
yeah,
definitely should do this again,
yeah,
uh, and compare and see just what are we doing now, what were we doing, and but yeah, like you said, it's really kind of endless opportunities
right,
in the creating realm, and that's why I want more people to do it. I just think there's so much you can get out of it.
yeah.
Personally, even anyone who does it can do a lot of good for you, and then other people, inspiring them, making them laugh, whatever it is.
Definitely. And yeah, we will definitely have to do another one of these in the future. And I mean, you're, a friend of the show. So anytime you want to come back, you're always more than welcome to, man. But yeah, I think,
Awesome.
like you said, yeah, getting other people to create or just even chase their passions, I think is huge. I think that like, you know, we live in a world, and I've also experienced this like in my professional career. It's like I want to be the best. Like I don't like if I'm thinking back to like professional opportunities, like I want to be like the best leader or the get the best results at my job, but kind of realizing that like having that mentality, it only really hurts yourself.
Yeah.
Like when you everything good on your
Sorry
end?
about that. Yeah, no,
Okay,
Kayla just walked in, and Bradley always does that one.
gotcha.
So, but
No
yeah, he'll
worries.
be good now that she's inside.
Okay, cool. But yeah, just like when you surround yourself with those people, I think like those other like-minded, skilled, talented people, passionate, driven people, I think that that just helps, man. And I think like
Hmm.
for me, like it'd be great to be like the best like podcaster in this like niche, but I'd love to have other people that are doing it and even more successful than I am, just like to be able to learn from them and talk to them and be like, hey, I'm doing this. What are you doing? So,
Right.
I definitely
Exactly.
agree that the more people we can get to create and chase our passions and everything, it's gonna make us better. It's gonna make the world better and hopefully happier too, right? Happier just with our lives, but also the world. I know certainly, kind of like you said, with everything going on in the world, we could use some, uplifting of each other and some joy and everything.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think everyone's definitely been through enough by now the last year and a half.
Yeah, definitely. All right, man. So Duke Lenzer is the way that people can find you on socials.
Yes, I believe it's just yeah, Duke Lenzer, all one word is TikTok. It's Duke underscore Lenzer on
Okay.
Instagram, and then I think yeah, YouTube is just Duke Lenzer as well. So um, I know I have. If you find me on Instagram, there's a link tree in there with everything on it.
Okay, perfect. So maybe like Instagram's the best way, and then from there, people should be able to find everything else pretty easily.
Perfect. Yeah,
Cool.
exactly.
Awesome. Well, I will throw all of kind of like your socials in the description of this episode. So if you're listening and you want to check out Luke and see his content, or I mean, even if you just want to say what's up, I'm sure he'd love to chat and connect. So I'll put that all in the description if it's just easier for you to click down there. But definitely check out Luke. Very, very funny content from what I've seen. And on top of, providing great content and laughs, I think I can safely say that Luke's a even greater guy. So, it's been a pleasure getting to know him. And I think that anyone that wants to reach out would have a great conversation with him.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah,
It's been a great time doing. I could definitely say a lot of those things right back at you.
appreciate it, man.
You definitely have a good mentality with, kind of how you're looking at this, and obviously you can correlate that with how people look at life, and so definitely seems like you're a good guy as well, and we'll have to get together, have a beer or something one day.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. We'll definitely have to link up at some point. If you ever find yourself back in Mount Pleasant in the next year, uh, let me know.
Are you still up there right now?
Yeah, so I'll be up here for my final year, and then I'll be coming back to like the Metro Detroit area.
Awesome, dude. Well, good luck
Yeah, man. Thank you,
in
man.
your final year up there.
Appreciate it.
Fire up.
Appreciate it. Yeah, fire up, Chips. Gotta love it.
Always.
Always nice to connect with a fellow Chippewa.
Exactly.
But other than that, Luke, is there any like last message, last words that you want to share with anyone that's listening right now?
Um, that's probably about it. I mean, it was fun. I guess some
Yeah,
takeaways. Just be open for sure. I know we talked about mental health a lot in the beginning. Um, don't be afraid to look in on yourself and acknowledge like, hey, maybe there is something going on, and you might not have all the answers. You probably won't have all the answers right away, but just don't be afraid to say, hey, let's figure this out. Talk to someone who may know more about it, whether that's, like you said, friend, family, or someone who's trained, someone who's licensed and has a lot of experience. They do that for a reason, and they're there to help you. And then, just kind of on the flip side of mental health, but having fun, being open with who you are. Don't be afraid to show it online, and share who you are, create, have fun with it, and just be open in your ideas and the way you think too. Like we said, kind of in the middle. I'm just remembering, and being open to the idea of connecting with people outside of your realm. Do something different. Like I said, I've never done this before, and it was really exciting to me to do something that I've never done, and talk to someone who I don't know and get to know them, and we're both going to come out of this better,
yeah,
better people. And so the more we do that, do that over and over again. Talk to someone random, or like we said, you're stopping picking up dinner. Just say, hey, how's your day going? Even if it's hope you have a good rest of your night on the way out. You
Yeah.
know, connect any way you can with words and ideas, and just be open minded with everything you can. There's enough, tunnel vision out there, and we're
Yeah.
too divided, and we need to come together. So that's probably all my last words I could come up with.
I think that's a great way to end it, man. Fully encompassing our whole conversation today. Mental health is so important. So, just anyone listening, if you are having any, struggles or challenges with mental health, know that you're not alone, and there's plenty of people and resources out there that you can seek out, or just people that care about you. Even if we don't know you, I'm sure it's safe to say that Luke and I both we care. We care about everyone that we interact with and everything and in this world. So definitely just know you're not alone, and, be open to new ideas, try new things, step out of your comfort zone at times. You never know what's on the other side until you step over there. So yeah, glad that we were able to talk today, Luke. Glad that you could experience your first podcast. It's been a fun time having you. And like we said, we'll definitely have to do this again in the future, and kind of see where we're at and update everyone listening with what's going on in the journey.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to doing the next one, and maybe I'll have my own podcast in the future. Who
There
knows?
we go. I love it. All right, man. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for joining, and best of luck with everything. I know this won't be the last time that me or anyone hears. Well, I guess Luke or Duke.
One of the two. I'm
One of
sure.
the
I'm sure
two.
you'll see one of them.
Yep. All right, man. Talk to you later.
All right, sounds good, man. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.